Hello everyone, welcome to Chess Fight, and today I am going to show you the game between Mikhail Tal versus Mark Pasman. This game was played in 1953, and guys, as you know that all games of Mikhail Tal is very interesting. So yeah, I've just selected one of the game of Mikhail Tal. This is just very interesting game. Mikhail Tal is white and Mark Pasman is black. So let's start the game. So Mikhail Tal started with 1 e4 and Mark played c5, the Sicilian defense. So here knight to f3, d6, d4, c into d4, knight into d4, knight to f6, knight to c3, a6, just stopping bishop b5 check, or just knight so that knight cannot come on the b5 square. So here f4, very nice move. The idea is to white can play e5 in the future after castling, and the rook file will also be open in the future. So here e5, just striking in the center. Here knight to f3 back, knight to d7, bishop to d3, and both the players are just simply developing the pieces. So bishop to e7, castle by Mikhail Tal, castle by Mark Pasman, king h1. The idea of king h1 is that if the king was on g1, there could be some dark square weaknesses. So after king h1, the king is just very safe, and white can attack by playing h3, g4, g5. So here Mark played b5, just gaining space on the queen side and also preparing bishop b7, which gives some target on white. So here a3, stopping b4. So here queen to c7, f into e5. Here Mikhail Tal took. Here d into e5, knight to h4. The idea of Mikhail Tal is to play knight to f5, attack the bishop on e7, and knight would have a very great square on f5. So here knight to c5. The idea is to exchange the bishop on d3, and also creating some pressure on e4, and also opening up the bishop. So here bishop to g5, queen to d8, knight to f5, bishop into f5, rook into f5, and knight to d7. And here guys, you can see that Mark Pasman is just playing passively in this position, as his pieces are just like this, and Mikhail Tal has just gone for an attack. The rook is on f5, bishop on g5, the queen can come on g4, rook f1, rook f3, rook h3. So basically white is just doing perfectly fine in this position. So after knight to d7, Mikhail Tal played bishop into e7. Here queen into e7, knight to d5, attacking the queen on e7, and also the knight have got a very nice square on d5. So here queen to d6, queen to g4, g6. Just here the rook cannot be taken because the pawn is pinned. So Mikhail Tal played simply rook a f1, f6. Here come h4. Guys, h4 was not the best move for white in this position, but yeah, h4 looks very natural move. And the white wants to play h5 and just take the pawn on g6. After h into g6, queen into g6, and black have got checkmated. But the best move for white in this position was to play rook 5 to f3. The idea could be to play knight to e3, knight to e3, knight to f5, and knight would have a very good square on f5. It attacks the queen on d6, and then maybe the idea could be to play rook g3, h4, h5 then. But what happened in the game is, after f6, here Mikhail Tal gone for h4, and here Mark Pasman find the best move for black in this position, king h8. Yes, so now the pawn is attacking the rook on f5. So here Mikhail Tal played rook f5 to f3. Here f5. Now here Mark is started to get some space, some counterplay on the king side as well. So after f5, Mikhail Tal played e into f5, just exchange the pawn. Here queen into d5. Here f into g6. Here Mikhail Tal gave up the knight on d5 at the place of getting f and g pawn. And here you can see that the here black king is just a little bit passive and weak. But engine wise, it's winning for black. Black is better in this position. So after f into g6, Mark Pasman played rook into f3. Nice move. Here g7 check, king g8, and here bishop into h7 check, because so that the king come on h7 and white maybe get some counterplay with h5, queen g6 check, maybe pushing the h pawn. Yeah, there could be some ideas. So here king into h7, here rook into f3, here knight to e4, here h5, here knight to f6, attacking the queen on g4. So queen to g6 check, king to g8, and now h6. And after h6, rook a7, just giving some pressure on the pawn on g7 so that it can be taken on the future. Here white cannot push g7 because knight can take it with the help of king. So here Mikhail Tal played king h2 so that there would be no more checks. So here Mark Pasman played rook to e7. Guys, rook e7 was not a good move for black. The best move for black in this position was to play queen to d2, because the threat is to take the pawn on h6. So h7 is pushed, because something like b3 is met with queen into h6 check, queen into h6, here knight to g4, making a fork, and after black takes the queen, it's just a lost endgame for white. So queen d2 was the best move for black in this position, but what Mark played was wrong. He just gone for rook e7, because now comes a very powerful move, rook to h3. The idea is to push the h7. Here knight to h7 force. Here rook to d3, queen a8, queen into e4, very nice move. Here queen into e4, here rook to d8 check, king f7, here g8 queen, king f6, rook to d6 check, king f5, queen to g6 check, king f4, g3 check, king e3, rook to d3 check. And guys, after queen into d3, Mark Pasman resigned the game, and in this position, at the move number 40, Mark resigned the game and Mikhail Tal won the game. So guys, this was a very interesting game, as how we see how Mikhail Tal just launched an attack. We can see just after knight fd7, white is having a very easy play in this position, and white is better in this position, and how just Mikhail Tal just played the position. Just see how just dominating the king on h7. It just practically looks very dangerous for crack in this position. So guys, this was the interesting game of Mikhail Tal versus Pasman. So guys, if you like this game, then please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and please tell me on the comment box how much you like this video. And thank you for watching.